16 years ago, I was 38 and had no plan to start a nonprofit. I was climbing the corporate ladder, loved it, single woman in New York.
New York, yeah.
I was having a great time. And for some unknown reason, and I know it happens to all of us, we hear something in our heads and we don't pay attention sometimes we do. I heard a voice literally ask me, if this is the next 30 years of your life, is this enough? And I paid attention and I started to think, no. I was shocked that I really realized in that moment, I thought I missed something, a really important part of life. And I thought I didn't have children, I didn't have my own family, and I didn't know what to do about it. And I finally thought maybe I could read to children in shelters. So I called some shelters out of the blue, and I asked them if I could come and read to the children, and they said yes, and I went. I brought a whole bunch of books, just whatever I thought. I bought some books, and I went, and I sat on the floor. They brought the children in, and I read to them for an hour. And they were quiet because I didn't really know why, but I've learned what they've been through is very difficult. So one night I watched where they were bringing these kids to go to sleep, and it was just a sterile room with futons and flat surfaces. Very nice staff, but it wasn't bedtime the way I knew it, the way you know with your kids, the way children have a right to a bedtime. There was no changing of pajamas. There was no one to a bed. There were a couple to a flat surface. Some of them were crying. It was heartbreaking. So I asked if I could bring some pajamas the next week, and they said sure. So the next week I brought the books, and I brought a whole bunch of new pajamas. I went shopping on a shopping spree.
That's amazing.
And they brought in different kids, sat on the floor, I read, and then I said, I have a surprise for you kids. Had them line up, and one by one I reached into the bag and picked something that I thought would fit the child in front of me, and that was great. And the kids were really, really happy. One little girl halfway through was not happy. She was not in a good place. All night I noticed she was so quiet. And I went to give her her pajamas, and she just shook her head. And she didn't want them. So I went to the next child, and they tried to bring her into the room to go to sleep, and she just wouldn't go. She wanted to stay and watch me for some reason. So I knew she was standing next to me watching me, finished with the group of kids, and I turned to her with the pair of pajamas, and they were pink, and she was in lavender, and they were too short and too tight, and her ponytails were uneven. And I said, honey, these are for you. These pajamas will fit you. They're pink, they sort of match what you're wearing when you like them. And she just looked at me and she said, what are they?
What are pajamas?
And I had to explain pajamas to this little girl. And that was the end of the career and the beginning of doing whatever I could.
You started from scratch.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And people
Look at
wanted
you
to help,
now.
and here we are.